Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. Elbows up! Has Canadian travel to the United States indeed declined? Travel guru Claire Newell will map out the trend, plus Kyla Lee and Guy Felicello will be here to give us two different perspectives on whether or not tough-on-crime policies actually deter crime. But first, multiple elementary schools in this province are running short of paper, kind of an essential supply. This is happening in Surrey, BC, but is this just the tip of the iceberg? Here to explain what's going on, the president of the Surrey Teachers Association, Lizanne Foster. Lizanne, thanks so much for being here tonight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mo. Glad to be here.
So I heard the chair of the Surrey Board of Education say that, listen, there's been no cuts to paper or paper supply in Surrey. So what's going on with these Surrey schools that are suddenly short of paper for elementary school students?
Well, there's lots of things going on. One of the things that he doesn't pay attention to is that the cost of paper has gone up. It's gone up an average of 6% each year for the past 5 years. The budget hasn't gone up by that amount.
Okay. So the effective budget has kind of gone down. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he seemed to say that, you know, teachers have always supplemented certain supplies as needed. We're at the end of the school year. This is a very normal thing. So what is the big deal, I guess, then, with paper running out at this time of the year?
Yeah, that was quite, it was quite troubling for him to say that. I mean, it's a public education system. And the whole premise of public education is that it allows anybody, any child from any family to be able to access education. And the fact that teachers are spending $500 on average a year to supplement that. We've got the Vancouver Sun, school that helps schools to provide foods. I mean, it's a shame that in such a rich province, we have to rely on PACs, on parents raising funds, on teachers digging into their own pockets to pay for supplies.
And I feel like paper is just one area where schools are facing effective budget cuts. What else are you seeing in Surrey?
Well, right now in Surrey, they've cut the elementary band program, and that has got many parents and families devastated because it is often only in a school that some families, the kids can access a musical instrument, get introduced to music in a band in this way. And that's one of the cuts. We've got lots of other cuts. There used to be helping teachers that were also cut. We've got learning centers that were cut. And the cuts are aimed at anything that they could justify as not being in the curriculum. Surrey has always had, a little bit of extra in terms of careers and programs like that. We've always had extra programs. People used to move from the rest of the province to Surrey for its programs, and now those are being gutted.
But it seems like even beyond those extracurriculars, if there's elementary schools that are short of paper, we're now gutting into the bone, basics, like into essentials, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just paper. It's markers, it's toner, it is textbooks. Some schools have textbooks that are 20, 30 years old. I know kids in my school used to laugh at getting books that their parents' names were written in. They were so old. Yes.
Wow. Is this just a Surrey problem? Is this something located in this particular school district, or is this something that you're hearing from other schools in other jurisdictions?
So other school districts have different problems. So in some school districts, there's limited access to a photocopier. So you don't have access to a photocopier, you cannot rely on paper. You have problems in other districts where they don't have certified teachers. So they don't have the kinds of programs that we have. So even though there's this 60 school districts, they are funded quite differently. So school districts up north would get $17,000 per student kind of as a base, whereas we in the lower mainland just get less than $9,000. But they have different problems. So up there they have not enough certified teachers. They have lots of problems that we wouldn't have down here. So it's different problems in different places, but it all stems with chronic underfunding.
Right. And so Is that the core issue, that the entire system is chronically underfunded from a provincial level, or does it have something to do with the actual administration of the funds in each school district?
It's absolutely underfunded. There's about $10.8 billion missing from the funding that is going to schools right now.
What does that number mean? Like, where is that?
If in the year 2000, when the NDP was last in power, when you looked at the percentage of GDP that they were spending on education at that time, if we were spending that same percentage right now, there would be $10 billion more in the...
Wow.
So the BC Liberals cut, and then the NDP did not kind of like revert to what they did before. So there's a lot of money missing in the system. And if we don't put money into the system right now, other systems are going to pay. The healthcare system is going to pay, because teachers notice what kids need in schools, and they also get heartbroken when they cannot provide the kinds of help that kids need.
This sounds like a long systemic problem, not something that's just sprouted from the last couple of years.
Yes, and the paper is symptomatic of an absolutely deep, deep, deep problem, which is how little attention is paid to what children actually need, in complete contrast to what Indigenous ways of being, Indigenous cultures have. They center children. And so if, colonization hadn't happened, let's just imagine colonization hadn't happened and we were living under, let's say, Coast Salish governance right now, we would not be having this problem about what kids need, because what kids need would be the first thing in every decision.
So who is our society centering then?
A very Western European kind of way of being, where it's most important to have a hierarchy. There's some people that are better than others, and it's important to survive. It's important to gain lots of money, whereas it's very different in Indigenous societies, where the community and respect and everybody being equal is critically important.
Fascinating. Lizanne, I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate your voice on this very important topic. Folks, that was the president of the Surrey Teachers Association, Lizanne Foster. If you're a teacher, I would love to hear from you. Mo@thisisvancolour.com. Now, after some business, violent repeat offenders out on bail, mass murderers out on parole. A lot has been said in the federal election about cracking down on crime, but do tougher sentences actually deter crime? Let's talk about it up next.